Hey guys, Eric Anielli. Today, just my neighbor, his daughter broke a drive shaft in her Jeep Wrangler. So well, she actually broke the U-joint. So I'm just putting a U-joint in for him. He's going to put it back on. What I'm going to do is I have a shop press, and there's the tried and true beating it with a socket method, but I have the Harbor Freight, the ball joint kit. And it makes it, if you got a small, easy enough to handle drive shaft that you could get it on the bench, it's probably your easiest option out. So I haven't really used it a lot on universal joints, but it's a ball joint press. A lot of us have that more than, a shop press, but we all have some sockets to beat on it if we have to. We just want to see how easy we could make it with a tool we might already have. This is just the Harbor Freight. This is the basic ball joint kit. It's the Maddox. It's the ball joint service kit, the MA10-1. I also did get the extension kit. Now, you don't need the add-ons. This is just for different. They help you get it under different control arms. They have a couple pieces, like it'll shorten this anvil. And the only piece I'm going to use out of that, and you can or can't, but whenever we put the ball joint back in, you need something for it to butt up against. And this one piece came with the add-on kit. And it fits right in this little hole here, because at first we're going to drive this part of the ball joint, or part of the universal joint, we're going to drive that through this hole. But when we put it back together, we don't want it to keep going. So we're going to use this just to stop it so it can't keep going through there. But other than that, you could still do everything with just the basic kit. I'm just seeing if I got anything in the add-on kit that might help me out. These things do help you out every now and again, but basically your main kit, that's what you want to get. All right, we have the snap ring pliers here, and these are just regular pliers. Sometimes you could just grab these two tangs. That's all we want to do, squeeze them together. Just give a little bit of lubricant. Get the other side while you're at it. This one's in pretty good shape. It's not all rusted like most Pennsylvania drive shafts are. Somebody undercoated it at one point. Now, usually you just have a pick or a small screwdriver handy. But this would be if you didn't have snap ring pliers, if you wanted to give it a shot with just regular pliers. You squeeze that ring together. Once you hear that, now see, that's if you're having trouble, if your pliers keep letting go, just get this under it and pop it out like that. Same on the other side. So just watch it don't hit you in the head. Fly off, hit you in the eye, wear goggles, or just put your hand over it like that. Now those are pretty easy to pop out. Just put a little bit more penetrating oil on there, just so someone will get down and help us move it. Now we're going to move it with the press, with the ball joint press. All we're basically going to do is put this end right now. Could free float, and if it doesn't, we'll use an adapter to get it to move. See how it wants to slide a little bit right there? That's all right. That's where you get into, and you could get a little bit creative with whatever kind of receiver you got in any kit. Sometimes, now these are more for ball joints, if you could get something on there. Sometimes the actual mandrel itself, but it's going to just snub us in there. It's not going to let the cone go through. See, it won't fit through here. We need something that will fit through. But at this point, we're going to just use the press to get it moving. Once it comes out past this lip, let me show you. Once we get it moving, that it's coming out or past this lip, and this lip is flush with the outside of the drive shaft, then we could just give it a couple hits with a socket. But we're going to use the press to move it. This is when you could put it in a vise and just start hitting that. But, sometimes the press makes it a little bit easier. Okay, I keep a bunch of older sockets or parts from that I find or anything. This happens to be 1 1/16. And what happens is if you take the new ball or the new universal joint and just you want to make sure that the cup goes into the socket. And what I'm going to do is put it like this on one end so the cup could be driven into the socket. If it don't make sense, it will in a minute. Okay guys, this is just the closest that you're going to get to the cat's ass on a U-joint. It's a pretty easy one to get to. I'm using this socket and I'm using this piece that came from the add-on kit. It's just going in here to make the socket a little bit more stable. But you can also, if you had to, just use one that this is going to cover like that. But it's just, if you have the piece, you know, you may as well use it. Put it in. And you're always going to have some trouble moving these around. And like I said, this is the easiest one you're ever going to see. That's why it's a good one just to show you the basic. How to use a press to do it. Saves you from beating on it, because if you do beat on them and you hit this yoke too much, yeah, you are going to do some damage. What you want to do is just center this as much as you can. And you want to make sure that this has room to go in there, that cup. It's the same with the press. Most of your times lining everything up until you know you're going to put torque on it, get the right result. Not bend something. That's not what anybody's after. Then this is 22mm socket. I'm going to just put it on the spline, and I'm going to hit it with the impact gun. Let me back you out a little bit. And we're going to just see if it pushes that cap into the cup. You could use a wrench, put it in a vise, but if you have a little electric impact, it'll do the trick. See this little guy. That easy. See how the cap right here, let me zoom you in a little bit there. This cap went right into the socket. If you had it this way, see the cap couldn't go into this. But this way it went right into the socket. Easy peasy. All right, and if you notice, it's still attached. We still have this little piece on there. Sometimes you could hit it with the socket, knock it out. What I usually do is a pair of vice grips. Just unwind them until you got a grip on it. And if it moved that far, you could usually twist them the rest of the way out. If not, we'll give it a hit with a hammer. And then there's the cap, and there's all your needle bearings in there. You do not want to lose these on the new one. You want these needle bearings to stay right in there. Let me see if I can show you inside what it looks like if you never dealt with one, if it's your first U-joint. Each one of them is a needle, and they will fall out even on the new one. We're going to tape up the end that we're not using so they do stay in. And here, I may as well show you the easiest way I can how the rest of this goes. Once you got this cap off, just push on this joint and it'll come up a little bit more now. It'll go through the hole. Sometimes you got to push him back the other way and knock this one out. But that one looked like it almost cleared. So we're going to just push it the other way. Let me see if one hit with a hammer is going to knock it down anymore. And then if not, we're going to just push it back this way and do the same thing. All right, I'm going to just hit that little extension, see if it does knock it out the bottom. Nope, that's as far down. So we're going to just use the press and we're going to drive it out that way. Hey guys, I'm just going back the other way. Once we move this one down, the joint will probably come out of the middle. If not, we'll drive it the whole way through. Some do, some don't. But if you notice, I don't have the cup on it yet. That was just to make it a little bit easier to line up on the spline of the U-joint. So move. Now we're going to make sure we keep pushing on that straight. And she's still staying in there. So now we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to put the cup back on it. This piece. Just so this tip could go in there. Some of them, they'll come out the whole way at that point, but we're running out of room to drive it through. So, simply the same thing. Your biggest problem is always going to be just balancing everything. It'll be better if we just let it lay flat. Okay. Let's see if it'll come out. There you go. And this one, you can either drive through or just hit through with a hammer and it's going to come right out. In this case, things we got the press out. Like I say, we're trying to avoid the most amount of beating something with a hammer you can if you have a simple tool like this that you could repurpose. Yeah, my battery's on one. Let me grab another battery. All right, there we go. Fresh battery, finish it off. There we go. Just straight out without any beating. I mean, we could have did it on the shop press, but you know, like I said, when your drive shaft's only this big, it's a lot easier to just handle it on the bench. And all right, this is the new U-joint, and the spindles, as long as they're not rusty and you don't feel anything, or not the spindles, the yoke rather, I don't go in here with sandpaper because that's going to just take material off. If they're very, very rusty, yes, but the groove, you definitely want to clean out. I can't do this with one hand very good, but you definitely want to make sure there's no rust or no buildup in here. Hit it with some brake cleaner, or at least some PB Blaster when you're done. Now, same thing with this side. I'm going to take this off. And the first thing we're going to do is get one of these into the yoke. I don't use a lot of lubrication on the outside. I just use a tiny bit of dielectric grease. You want these as tight as possible. And just remember about these needle bearings. This one we're going to leave that has a bolt in it. It's going to go into the part of the punk in the rear end. This part's going to go through here. So these caps we need to take off. These ones we don't need to take off, but if they fall off, remember all the needle bearings in here. We don't want to lose them. So the side that we're not using, I'm going to just tape, just to make sure this can't go anywhere. Now, that piece of tape wasn't very good. Gonna get a better piece on there. Just like that, so them caps can't move. And these caps, we're going to have to gently take off. Just twist. And see those needle bearings? You don't want them to fall out. You want to keep them just like that. Set that somewhere to the side. See guys, like that little, very little. And that's it. It's not caked on there, just a little bit to keep it from binding. And see, this is the part where you want to pay really good attention that these needle bearings don't go anywhere. And we're going to take our new one and we're going to put it in there so these bearings can't fall out before we put the torque on it. You could feel it just going over the tip. That's all it's going to go. But you want this U-joint in there, so no matter what you do, these bearings can't lock up now. And that's where we're going to go. We're going to press it just like this. We're going to push that up through there. You can put the other cap on, but it's not going to make contact with the U-joint. We want to push it through enough that whenever you first put this on, it actually goes into them needle bearings. Save you a little time, a little bit of frustration. You could pack even more grease in these if you want to make sure these bearings don't move, but you don't want the bearings to move. This part might be a little difficult to film, but you could see we have the tape holding the caps on the side. I'm pushing up to keep this part into this cap. And then I'm going to take the press, put it under here. I'm still holding up on the U-joint. See, this is the part of the press where you got to move around till you get a little bit tight in there. I mean, it's possible one man. I mean, I don't think I've ever asked for help for a U-joint, but you're going to swear you need 3 hands sometimes, but It's all right. See, I'm just using my hand and it's pushing that cap in there. I haven't even given it any impact yet. I'm going to just give it a bump. And again, push up on the U-joint. See how easy you push that in there? Don't want to hit it real hard. We keep the pressure on that U-joint so it don't drop out of there. If it does, no big deal. Sometimes some needle bearings don't move. But worst case scenario, they'll fall out. And you'll be looking for every single one of them on the floor. Now that we could go to this side and leave it go, same thing. I'm not even taking any out. I'm just taking my finger around the dielectric grease. Just going around the bearing, got that, or around the bearing cap that easy. Make sure all the needle bearings are straight. And when you put it upside down, you'll feel it go over the spline. If it doesn't, stop, because you're going to bend the needle bearings. It's pushing down just with hand. This is where you could hit them with a hammer. You could do whatever you want. Just, tapping them down. You could use the press. You could use whatever you want to actually tighten them down. What works nice for the press is you got them the whole way in there and you don't have to flip it back over. But if you don't want to use the press, I'll show you. Now the bearing cap can't go nowhere, so we don't have to worry about the needle bearings. But same thing, your first one on this side, you want to make sure, like with this, I'll just give a little tap down to make sure that the clip is going to clear that groove. Let me get you a little bit better view here. These are the clips that came out of it. We got 4 because some clips use 4 clips. This uses 2 of these kind of clips and 2 that go over these other ends of the U-joint. So we're going to use the same kind. One of the kind that came with it, it's just hard to see there, but it's just got rounded edges. But we do have 2 exactly like this. Make sure you use the new ones. Same thing, putting them in. Like these aren't even snap ring pliers. You get like regular pliers. Just want to grab it, make sure you could squeeze it. Wear glasses or something so you don't get hit in the eye, or cover it up like that. So if it does pop off, it's not coming right back towards me. And then once you see it go in, see it's still a little bit high here. You want to make sure the whole way around there it's in that groove. If it is, when you push it just a little bit, you should be able to spin it like that. But that's how easy they are to get in and out of there. We're going to check them once we get the other side in, believe me. But right now, we just want it in a groove where it's not popping out on us. Right there, you can hear it click in. It's in the groove the whole way around. Now we can simply take a socket, whatever you have, because the bearings can't go nowhere. I'm going to just hit it with this press piece. Let me zoom out and show you what I mean. Just this little press piece here that's small enough to just be on the cap. And then, you want to go until you fill that groove so we could get the other clip in. And make sure it still twists. Make sure the clip's still in the opposite side. To make sure we get a new clip, same thing. Well, looks like we might have to give it one more swat. Looks like you can go a little bit that way, probably one more hit. Give it two for good measure. Twist. There you go. You could hear it hitting there. Like I say, you want to pinch it and spin it. Make sure it's in that groove. And then just make sure it didn't bulge too far the other way. We're in on both sides. Put some light on it, make sure. This one still looks like it has a little bit more. Yeah, the bearing cap is touching. See, in here you want to make sure the bearing cap is touching the clip. And it is. We're in that groove the whole way around there. You're in the groove the whole way around there. If anything don't look right to you, like this end looks like it probably is in, but I'm going to just make sure. Yes, we could fill that groove the whole way around. Again, spin them. Make sure that it stays in the groove. Alright. That one looks perfect still. But still, we're going to get one more. Make sure we can spin it. He's coming out the corner there. Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit tight for my liking because we drove it this way a lot. I'm going to do, even if I have to use the other clip, I'm going to just give it a knock that way. And see how easy it spins now. We were just pounded in a little bit too far. Now I'm going to use the other clip that came with the new one. Just because I hit that one. Right, just make sure it's in the groove the whole way around on both sides. Nothing sticking out. Well, that's it. Ready to go back on. All right, guys, that's not much, but I just wanted to show you what if you have a ball joint press, I mean, you can use it for U-joints. They even make little mini presses that do nothing but U-joints. But if you already got one tool, you may as well repurpose it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using a hammer, using an old socket, hitting them, do what you got to do. I mean, I've did hundreds of them with a hammer. The ball joint press, I just figured because this is a small shaft, sometimes if you have like a drive shaft that you can't get the whole way down, a carrier bearing, a very long drive shaft, it's easy just getting on it with the press. But I mean, is it a lot easier than a hammer? No, it's just less hitting. You know, the less you got to hit something, if you actually can press it together, yeah, that's the way to go. But beating them in, it's, you got to do what you got to do, right, guys? I mean, yeah, it's kind of a standard thing. Same with ball joints, but the only part I used out of the accessory kit was just this little piece. And it's you don't need that. You could use a socket. Everything that you need, let me switch it around. And that's a basic kit. That's all you really need. That's what I used out of this. This is the accessory kit. Like I say, they got little cutouts for control arms. These are mainly for ball joints. They give you a couple of these little cups that, you know, you get a different size with the main kit, so it complements the other kit. And I'm sure you're still going to find something that, you know, is incompatible, or a ball joint that nothing works on, but that's when the hammer comes in. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching that. Have a great one. Adios.